Well, good evening. I'm here to make a nice dinner tonight, and it's going to be a serving for 4. And first of all, I'm going to have fried frog legs along with caramelized frog legs, and then I'm going to do a stuffed zucchini, which are the ingredients you see here now. So I'm going to start on my side first, as it will take the longest to cook. Again, it's a 4-serving dish. You want to first preheat your oven to about 350, and you can use an oblong baking dish of some sort. This zucchini here, we're going to be cutting that in half lengthwise. So to get started here, first we're using, this is equivalent to about 2 medium zucchinis. I just used 1 large one, or you can use 2 medium size. We're going to be doing a 1/2 pound, and then I'm using ground turkey. You can use beef or chuck, whichever type of meat, chicken, whatever you prefer. Then we also have a little over 1/2 pound of Italian sausage seasoned. And then this is about a 1/4 cup of onion, white onion, and about a 1/4 cup of bell pepper. And this was frozen, and I left the ice juice in there that was created by the ice for more flavoring, or you can drain it. Then for our breadcrumbs, you can use plain. I prefer to use Italian seasoned blended breadcrumbs, or you can season your breadcrumbs accordingly. And that's a little over a 1/4 cup. Then for eggs, that's just 1 beaten egg. And then we have a 1/2 cup of water there. And then again, the zucchini. Now moving back, these will be our other ingredients for this dish. We will be using this whole can of 14.5 ounce. I'm using petite diced tomatoes, or you can use just a diced tomato of some sort. Or Rotel's, you can use the diced tomatoes with the chilies in it. That'll be fine too. This is a 10.75 ounce can of tomato soup. We're only going to be using half of that. And then for seasoning, I'm just going to do a basic salt, and this is a Salt for Life. If you've seen my videos, you know I've used the low sodium blended salt. And then black pepper. You can add more seasonings if you would like, especially if you're using ground turkey or ground chicken, because it is a little more bland, which is why I boosted up the pepper, bell pepper, and white onion on this. If you are not using ground turkey and using beef or chuck, you can cut back on your bell pepper and onion, or you can use the same amount I did here. So we'll go ahead and get started first by, we're going to be cutting this baby here in half lengthwise. See you back in a moment. Okay, first of all, what I'm going to do here is cut this zucchini in half. Like so. Want that to be like that. And then what we're going to do is scoop out as much of this as we can. And I'm going to do this off the video based on the angle I'm at. And you're basically going to scoop as much of this out as you can and leave a hollow, leave this like a zucchini shell. You don't have to get to the skin, but as much as you can, seeds and all. And then I'll come back and show you what we're going to do with the filling. Okay, now the easiest way to cut this, I found, I'm just going to show you, is to just leave about a 1/4 inch on there, and just take your zucchini and run the knife down there like this. Bring that to a peak on the ends, like so. And then you take your spoon, and this will just pretty much come out. It'll pop out. You just want to scoop that out. You can do it like that if you want, as long as you cut deep enough. It's a little tough in there, but you want to get that out. There we go. And we're going to be using, turn that around, and we're going to be mixing this in with the meat and everything after this step. Kind of want to leave it kind of similar to a stuffed, I mean not a stuffed, but a potato skin. Careful if you're doing this. I'm not cutting this at the best angle based on this, where this camera's sitting, but alright. Okay. So here we have it. We have our zucchinis, and these are ready to go, and we want to have our filling left like this, or the middle part. That's what we want to have that, and I'll show you what we'll do next with that. Okay, now next what we're going to be mixing together before we do our zucchini filling here. Went a little out of order on this, but we're back on track now. We're going to mix our turkey, ground turkey, and then also our Italian sausage. And I'm just going to break this up some. Okay. Instead of putting the egg and all that in there now, just want to mix this up some. Oops. And again, this Italian sausage is already seasoned. If you want to add peppers to it or whatever, you can. You can enhance this. Okay. So we got that there. Alright. Go ahead and turn off that. Okay. And then we're going to add our bell pepper and onion. Add our egg. And again, that is a beaten egg, by the way. And then we're going to add our breadcrumbs. Now what I'm going to do is, you want to mix this all together. I'm not going to do that on camera, but you're going to mix that all together and get it kind of in like a meatloaf consistency. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to add some of my salt. And salt for life, I should say. And I can use quite a bit of this because it is 70% less sodium. Only 136 milligrams versus, I believe, 550 in the regular salt. Add my pepper. Now, go ahead and swap that out. Now, what we're going to do with this zucchini, the middle part, is if you see any seeds, like this part here, I'm going to just cut that up and put it in with the meat. And this here doesn't really have any seeds, so what I'm going to do is just take this out of here. Some of your zucchini will have a lot of seeds in it, and those seeds are actually edible. There we go. So basically, I would just kind of cut this up, chop it up. Yes, you can. Let's switch knives here. There we go. And this is going to go in with our meat. Just going to do this a little quicker. But yeah, as I was saying, if you have seeds in there, a lot of that is reserved in there. But since this one didn't, this one here didn't have a lot of seeds, so I'm just going to chop it up. I could have put this in the food processor, but this is fine. Zucchini is very soft. It's almost like squash, the consistency. Okay. Okay. Now, basically this is what our mixture looks like. It's got our zucchini in there with our meat, which is the ground turkey and Italian sausage. Now what we're going to do spray our pan. Alright. So here we go. We're going to put our zucchini halves in there like so. And then we're going to take our mixture. And we're just going to spoon that in there. And you want these to be heaping amounts of zucchini mixture with the filling and all. You don't want it to be, you want to have quite a bit. If you have a lot of extra filling left, you can freeze it, which is what I'm going to do here. And basically, I'm going to get these babies filled up. I just thought about a modification to this deal here, and I'm going to be adding some cheese in there. I'm going to put some sharp cheddar. A really good cheese that would go with this. If you like a milder type of cheese, would be a feta. Feta cheese would be good with this too. If you use that, I would incorporate it into the meat mixture because it doesn't melt quite like your cheddars do, so it would be good to be in the meat. Okay, as you see, those are nice. Get these shaped up. Okay, here we have it. Now those are all ready to go. I just add a little bit more salt on the top of there. Put a little bit of pepper on there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cheese I just grated up. Make sure I put that on there like so. I'm a big cheese fan. I love cheese. Love it. Alright. And next up, what I'll be doing is making the sauce. Okay, so there we have our filled zucchini boats. Sit those there, and again, my oven is preheated at 350 at this time. All ready to go. Now, what we're going to do with the sauce here, we're going to stir in water first, and that's about a half a cup. We're going to use half a can of this tomato soup, remember. I guess that would help to get that in front of the camera. Sorry about that. Digging on that music and got sidetracked. Okay. Now, as you can see, these tomatoes have a lot of liquid in there. I'm going to pour some of that liquid off using a strainer. So I don't want it to be overly juicy. And again, we use the whole can for this. Okay. Says a whole can, but I'm gonna put half of it in there because I'm not a real big tomato fan, so I'm gonna use half. Stir that up, and basically it's pretty obvious what I'm gonna do here next, and that would be to spoon this mixture over the zucchini. If it's looking like you need to add those extra tomatoes, you can, because which I may have to, but I don't want it to be overly tomatoey because I'm not the biggest tomato fan, as I was saying. Alright. Okay, and the rest of this, there's quite a bit of juice still left, I'm going to go ahead and use these tomatoes, but I'm going to really strain them really well, which requires some pushing on them there to get that excess juice out. Thing about those canned tomatoes, they're good and all, but they're very, very juicy. They have a lot of juice in them. So, see, now we got this here. So now I'm just going to pour. When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove. And you're going to get a lot of your salt from this inside of your entree there. It's going to go down in there. So, and when this is about done cooking, I'm going to add some more cheese on top. Okay, some on this back part there. So you want them to be covered up and look like so. Okay, so I did get to use my full can. Not by my better judgment initially, but it is what it is, as they say. Alright. Okay, so these are ready to go in the oven. Now, I do recommend, if you're not baking this in a deep dish pan like so, which is 9 by 13, you may want to put it on a cookie sheet, put it under it, or wax paper, parchment paper, something or another, because this will probably cause a bubbling result from the heat. So we'll go ahead, we're going to put this in the oven on 350 for about 45 minutes, but I will come back and check them in about 30 to see where we're at and to see at what point I should put the rest of my cheese on there. Catch you back then. And keep in mind, when you place your zucchinis in the oven, you do not have to cover them with foil. I failed to mention that, unless you want to, but from all that tomato and the juice, there should be plenty of moisture. Okay, here we have our finished product, and as you can see, it produces lots of juice. Hence, that's the reason you really don't need to cover this. The only reason I covered it is because I had something else in the oven and I didn't want it to catch the flavors coming from this. So, but yeah, this is a pretty tender zucchini, and this will make a good leftover dish, I can already tell. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be putting some cheese on top of this to finish it off. So here you have it. The stuffed zucchini, and that's stuffed once again with Italian sausage, ground turkey, the actual zucchini middle incorporated into that mixture to make a filling, and then I topped it with petite diced tomatoes mixed in with a half can of condensed tomato soup and a half cup of water, and I used the whole 14.5, I believe it was, ounce can of those diced tomatoes. And this is about 4 servings. As you can see, they'll be pretty nice hearty servings, and I'm serving this as a side along with caramelized and fried frog legs. So we'll get to that portion of the video as you stay tuned. See you then. Good afternoon. Today I will be preparing frog legs. They will be prepared 2 different ways, and these are each 1 serving meals. And basically the frog legs, they will be prepared as in being caramelized. The second method will be fried. Starting with our ingredients for the caramelized frog legs, we will be using soy sauce, and that consists of 1 tablespoon and 1.5 teaspoons of soy sauce. Here we have teriyaki sauce, and basically that's half a tablespoon. We have a half, or 1 teaspoon rather, of ginger, minced ginger, and then it also entails a tablespoon of honey, and we'll also be adding another 1.5 teaspoons of honey to go with that. The frog legs, we have about a ½ pound each, and that's per person, so let's see. And then moving over here, we have our seasonings of just a basic pepper and salt for life, low sodium salt. You're going to want to have canola oil, and this is for the caramelized frog legs. And then we're going to be deep frying our fried frog legs. Then our last two ingredients consist of just a pinch or two of ginger, and that's ground, and then also cornstarch in this caramelized frog leg recipe, and that basically is equivalent to 1 tablespoon and 1.5 teaspoons. So basically, first of all, we're going to be marinating our caramelized frog legs in a made up marinade with these ingredients here. And then our frog legs, for frying, we're just going to marinate those in buttermilk. And we're going to pre-season those first and then be adding those both to the marinade. And basically what I'm going to do here is just take a little salt and season our frog legs. These are the ones that will be caramelized. Just going to use a basic salt for life mixture with a little bit of black pepper. Turn those over. Do the same thing on this side. Now for our marinade for the caramelized frog legs, we're going to first add our teriyaki, our soy sauce, our garlic, our honey, and we're going to add a little bit more honey to that. And then we're also going to be adding, as I mentioned, a small amount of ginger. A little bit of ginger in there. And we'll add a little bit more honey. Okay, there we go. And basically just kind of whisk that up. And again, this is our marinade for our caramelized frog legs. A little bit of honey stuck in there. Get that out. There we go. Okay. And what I'm going to do is use my Denny meat tenderizer on these. Way those flavors get down in there during the marinating process. Okay. And then we'll just add these in a bag, or you can do this in a glass dish. Pour our marinade in there like so. That honey is really thick. What I would suggest, let's see, seal that up. And kind of work that around so it gets over all of your frog legs there. Okay, and we're going to marinate that for about an hour in the refrigerator. Now these are the frog legs that we're going to be frying, and basically it's the same method, minus the marinade there. We're going to be using a buttermilk marinade for these. So same process pretty much. They'll sit in the fridge an hour as well. Some Denny meat tenderizer on these also. And the buttermilk is going to help these hold the breading that we'll be putting on, which will be a flour seasoned flour batter that I'll be using or breading. Okay, so we have that. And basically, we'll put these babies in the bag. Pour our buttermilk in there. You can add hot sauce to this if you'd like, but I'm not going to do that on these here. You can marinate them in hot sauce also, a thicker or wing sauce, something like that. Marinate these, they're seasoned. Marinate those in the buttermilk in the fridge for about an hour. See you back then. Alright, now basically when you drain the frog legs off, you're going to want to keep your marinade, whatever you drain off, you're going to want to keep that, by the way. So you can see these are nicely coated in our cornstarch, but keep your marinade and have it, you want to start it to a low simmer at this point. And that's going to be our caramelized flavoring. And as an additional seasoning, I'm going to put some 5-spice Chinese seasoning on these before I saute them. This is optional. But yeah, you want to have your reserve marinade simmering lowly at this point. Alright, so these are all ready to go into the oil. As you can see, we have our sauce slowly coming to a simmer there. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put these in there. And as we're doing this, our sauce is simmering. And we just want these to get a nice little coating on there. Be sure you don't let your sauce burn. You just want it to be a nice simmered thickness. There we go. And we'll go ahead and turn that off. With that honey in there, it's going to stay hot for quite a while. And we'll come back when our frog legs are done. Here we have our buttermilk marinated frog legs. And basically they're well drained. And we just have the buttermilk to help our coating. Just going to pour those in a bag and bread those up. And we'll come back. My oil is started for deep frying these. As you can see, our frog legs are pretty much done. And go ahead and give them a nice little touch there with the fork. You can see how tender they are. It's almost like a chicken leg there, a little small. You see it coming off the bone there. You don't want to cook it too much longer than that. We'll get this baby off of there first. And these are just cooked in cornstarch as a light coating. Okay, now here we have it. To enhance this dish, I made some jasmine rice to accompany the frog legs as a side. And we'll go ahead and pour our sauce over those. And if you want more sauce, you can always make some. And I'm going to give those a nice little brushing. Alright. There we have our caramelized frog legs over jasmine rice. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and drop in our other frog legs, and these are the buttermilk marinated frog legs, seasoned with salt for life and pepper, and lightly. And they're going into a lightly seasoned flour is what the breading is. So go ahead and deep fry those and let those babies fry up. And we'll add those to our dish. Okay, our frog legs are about done frying. If you want those crunchier, you can always leave them in there longer. I'm going to take mine out at this point. I like them to be a lightly fried texture. Nice coat of breading on there. And we'll be adding those to our dish here in just a few minutes. Alright, here we have it, our finished product. We have our buttermilk marinated fried frog legs here. And over here we have our caramelized frog legs over a bed of jasmine rice. This is a meal for two. So if you're interested in making this dish, hit up your kitchen and go check it out.